Hi everybody, first of all I just want to apologise if you can hear my dogs snoring because I'm recording this voiceover sat on my couch cuddling the dogs and one of them is definitely snoring next to me. But hello, I'm back today with another Project Life Process video. I'm sorry this video is going up a little bit later than usual this week. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and edit this, but I am documenting the end of April and beginning of May in this video, and I'm actually doing two double page spreads for you. So I'm just starting with this spread here, which is the end of April, like I was saying, and I felt like some of my previous spreads they weren't sitting right with me, and I realised it's because I needed some sort of title card. So I had a lot to say about this particular spread, so I decided to make my title card that big journal card at the top left hand corner there. And I just used a grid card and I did like a black outline around it, and I just journaled everything I wanted to say about this sort of week in general. And then you'll see that there's another journal card where I've done the same thing, and on the right hand side of the spread I've done it again, so it sort of keeps a little bit of continuity between the pages. And it just goes to show as well that sometimes you have lots to say about a page and sometimes you don't really have anything to say at all. And I don't think I really did a lot of journaling on the second spread that I show you in this video, so it just goes to show you don't always have to write loads and loads, but sometimes you do have a lot to say. So I was finding that these pages were getting a little bit samey because obviously we were in lockdown in the UK at this time, and I was just spending a lot of time in the garden with the dogs. So I put this filler card in here to break up the photos a bit. And what I'm doing is I have these puffy hearts. I think they were from a Dear Lizzie collection, and they actually had like sponge inside to make them really puffy. So I actually cut the back off and took the sponge out, and I was left with just a fairly flat gold heart, so it adds a bit of texture because it's actually a material, but I took all of the puff out so it's a bit more suitable for a Project Life album, which I prefer to keep as flat as possible. I've noticed that some of my older albums where I use lots of dimensional pieces have actually started to warp. The page protectors are warping, the pages themselves are warping, and that really concerns me for sort of the future of the albums, because these albums are something that I want to keep forever, you know, and pass down to our children. So I'm trying to use less dimension in most of my pages. So now we're moving on to the right hand side, and I'm just using some phrase stickers here from a Crate Paper collection that talk about flowers, and I think one of them says like so beautiful or something like that. And you can see I've got that other journal card there. This is another filler card, and I'm just sticking a little label on here that came with a free printable. And I think I've just stamped details on there a couple of times with a little enamel dot. And that's that. It just gives a place for your eye to rest because, as I said before, the photos are all a bit samey these last couple of weeks. So it's just something a bit different. I'm documenting here that I actually went out for the first time. So this was my first trip out of the house since coming out of hospital. So I left hospital on the 16th of March, and then this photo was taken on May the 3rd, and that was the first time I had left the house since being in hospital, apart from one blood test which had been done a few days after I left hospital. So I think it had been about 40 something days since I actually left the house. So obviously that needed documenting, and I literally just stayed in the car. But I wanted to document it because what happened was it gave me confidence, it boosted my confidence to actually leave the house. And I felt able to start walking the dogs again. So then there's some pictures here of, a few pictures from the first dog walk that I went on after shielding, and I just think it's important to document these things. I continued to shield until the beginning of August, but I finally felt able to walk the dogs and to spend time outside. So it was a big step. And it seems crazy now because life just went back to normal so quickly for me after August. for the most part, but obviously we're in lockdown again now. So that's that spread completed, and I'll show you a close-up of it at the end. And then this is the following double page spread in the album, which is the beginning of May. So these photos here were taken on VE Day, which is the 8th of May. So I've just stamped that on that little label there. And I found some stickers in white and navy blue, because VE Day is obviously a patriotic sort of day. So I just embellished that little collage of photos with those stars. And we did some work in the garden, and I made us a traditional afternoon tea, because that's what everyone does on VE Day. We were lucky the weather was so beautiful. But yeah, I've just used those navy stickers to spell out VE Day there, and using some more of those puffy stickers that I used on the other spread. I felt like I faffed around a lot with this spread, and I took a lot of the footage out. These colours, they're beautiful, but they're not like my natural colour scheme. I'm definitely more of sort of like a pinks person. And I found that a lot of my album this year actually is this sort of blue colour scheme. One of the spreads that you'll see in following weeks is also got a lot of blues in it. So it does take me longer to decide where to put things and which embellishments to use, because it's not sort of like my natural comfort zone. But yeah, I was just documenting a random photo there of our hedges. Since we moved in 2 years ago, I was trying to convince Will to get the hedges cut. And we finally did it in May, and it made such a difference to the garden. So this is the right side of the spread, and I'm just adhering down a label, which I'd cut in half, to this photo to journal about the fact that we got a hammock for the garden. My parents had 2 of these hammocks, and they gave us their spare one, and I just spent like the whole of the summer in this hammock. It was so great. We put it up like as soon as we got it, and we were so lucky with the weather during the first lockdown. It was beautiful, so we just spent all our time in the garden. And then this was like my second proper trip out of the house, which was towards the end of May. I waited in the car again, and Will went to B&Q, and he sent me a picture from inside B&Q, showing like the social distance measures and the queuing system and stuff. So I documented that, because obviously it's all part of this like crazy time that we've been through. And when we came out, there was an ice cream van in the car park, and he got me an ice cream. And I remember wondering like if I should even have the ice cream, because somebody else would have touched it, obviously with gloves on, but still. And it just, I don't know, I wanted to document it all, because this is just such a crazy time we're going through, isn't it? And even in a few months, it's already changed so much. So yeah, I'm glad I have these photos anyway. And then we've got a cute one of Archie after his groom. The groomers reopened at this point, and then that photo next to it of my dad and my brother really made me laugh, and I used a little embellishment that has like a phone conversation on it, because my mum sent me that photo. I still hadn't seen my family at this point. My mum sent it to me of my younger brother cutting my dad's hair, and it just made me laugh. So then I've got another journal card here, and I'm just sort of writing a little bit about how I felt at this time, and a little bit in general about the majority of the photos. I think I journaled that we had like been enjoying time in the garden and things like that. And then I have this card here, which is of the garden furniture. We finally bought a table and chairs for the garden as well. So I would sit outside and eat my lunch outside and have a cup of tea every single day, because it was the first time we'd had garden furniture. So lockdown was certainly good for our garden. We really sorted it out. And you'll have seen in previous spreads that I painted our garden shed and everything. It looked so much better. The whole garden just was transformed during the first lockdown. But yeah, in the bottom right hand corner, those are photos from a video call with family. And that's it, it's done. So there's the left hand side of the first spread that I made, and that is the right hand side. And there's actually my shielding letter goes in the middle of that spread, but obviously I've taken that out because it's got my address on it. And then this is the left hand side of the second spread and the last page. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you've got any questions, let me know, and I will see you next time. Bye.